So imagine for a moment it's 1948. Post-war America is booming and everyone you know is buying a house and settling down. The American suburb is beginning to sprawl, and you want to get in on it. Luckily for you, the GI Bill allows you to get a low-interest 30-year mortgage. But what house to buy? Just then you remember the ad you saw in the paper last week. The house America is talking about. The Lustron. The almost maintenance-free, all-steel, porcelain-enameled home seems like the future. The house built more like a car in a former aircraft factory. The missus seems overjoyed with the idea as well. And why wouldn't she be? With marvelous features like a built-in dressing table in the bedroom, a built-in bookcase in the living room to hang memories on, and a truly modern kitchen. It even comes with a dishwasher and a clothes washer. And with the ease of cleaning an all-metal, all-American home, both of you will have so much more time to start your family and pursue your American dream. So you buy your lot, pour your foundation, and order your house. It arrives 2 weeks later in a specialty designed semi-truck built with the purpose of moving Lustron homes. You and your GI buddies spend another 2 weeks putting together what is essentially a giant erector set. And here it is, your home of the future. All that is left to do is live the American dream. This here is one of those dream homes. Built in 1950, it is one of the around 1,200 remaining Lustrons out of the around 2,500 that were ever built. This is a fairly rare Westchester 3-bedroom model. Rare because most were 2-bedroom models. It's also unusual because it's actually placed backwards on the lot. You'll see when we go inside that we actually enter into the utility room and kitchen, as opposed to the living room. My father bought this house around 2 months ago, and plans to restore it to all of its original retro futuristic glory. So let's have a pre-restoration tour, shall we? The main reason I say this house is more like a car than a house is this little plate right here. When have you ever heard of a house having a serial number? This particular Lustron having the serial number 02274. And these plates are always in the utility room, so this would have been the utility room for the entire house. And as I mentioned before, this is actually the back of this house, so whoever put this house on this foundation actually did it backwards. So your front door enters directly into the utility room. It also opens up into your kitchen. Now at some point in its life, this kitchen was gutted and replaced, so we've done the same with the replacement stuff and completely gutted it. There are still some small details, such as this exhaust fan here, that is from the original design. Amazingly enough, it still works. Albeit with a little extra noise than it probably should. And the pull shade is really unique too, because to turn it off, you actually have to pull it down and clip it onto that little notch there, because that's what shuts the fan off. If you just leave it off of that, it stays running. And just like with the rest of the house, this kitchen had complete metal cabinetry, which was extremely loud, but really amazing looking. We are currently on the hunt for some metal cabinetry to replace this kitchen and make it look 100% original like it did. It was cool too because it was also angled forward. So you can kind of see where the shadow of where the cabinetry was. You can kind of see where it hung out even on the ceiling here, which again is metal. So at some point here in the future, that is something we're going to have to find and replace. We do have a few leads. I know of a Lustron kitchen that is in Detroit. There's a Lustron currently in the St. Louis area that's under threat of being torn down. And if for some reason it does come down, we might be able to acquire the kitchen from that. And of course, to complete the kitchen out, there was a china cabinet here. Again, all the way to the ceiling. You can kind of see the shadow on the ceiling where it was. And again, this is something we're going to be replacing here soon. All the windows in the house are replacements, but we actually already have replacements, I think, for every window except for maybe 1 or 2 in the house. Luckily, because all Lustrons were kit homes, all of the windows out there for every Lustron fit every other Lustron. So again, just like a car, you have the beauty of interchangeable parts. So walking in from the kitchen, this would have actually been your original front door, which would have been on the side of the house. And this would have been the living room. So this would have been the view from the front door as you walked in. And we have these really cool built-in shelving unit, which again, all Lustrons have. And really you can see kind of how they decorated them back in the day with all their little knickknacks and stuff, and they just end up looking amazing. So again, we're trying to find artifacts to fill this with. So we've been on the hunt for 50s knickknacks to go in here. And as you can see by some of the furniture, we've already started collecting some 1950s things. And this is a 1949 Philco television. Even comes with record player and AM radio. It does work, so this is something we're going to be using here in the house. We're hoping to actually be able to figure out a way to modify it slightly to be able to play off of a Raspberry Pi or a small computer. And the idea is here to be able to broadcast 1950s television and commercials and news onto this, and have 2 channels or 3 channels of content that run about 4 or 5 hours each. That way you could, you know, step it back in time and feel like you're watching TV back in the 50s. My father's also talked about doing a radio station that would just be here for the house, that we could have looping 1950s radio broadcast. Personally, I think it would be really cool to have like those action adventure shows that they used to have on the radio back in the day, you know, War of the Worlds or something like that. So coming down the hallway from the living room, we turn to our left. We have the bathroom and the little utility closet, or just kind of hall closet. I guess not really necessarily utility. One of the negatives about having a metal house is all of the cabinetry, when you move it around, is pretty loud. But other than that, it's actually really cool. And you know, these are 75-year-old cabinets that still work. Coming into the restroom, this is a room that's been fairly heavily modified. We think everything except for maybe the bathtub isn't original in here. The bathtub and the toilet paper holder and the 2 soap holders. And I guess the medicine cabinet itself is probably original as well. The fixtures are definitely of the era. And if we see there, we actually have a little plug for your razor underneath the one light fixture. Just the nifty little details. But again, this would have looked more like the utility room, so that very maize yellow color, I believe is what it's called. The tile in here is completely wrong and therefore will be ripped out. Same thing with this tile here, because the entire place was linoleum. Another super interesting feature that actually mimics something that is from my personal house, which is the addition of pocket doors. Now, those who know the channel know that I have an 1890s house that has these giant cherry-clad pocket doors, but these ones are all metal and they slide in, but they work the same way. If you look up, you can actually see the rail that they hang on to move. And this one is currently missing the wheel on this side, the hanger and the wheel that would support it. But it's still here and still will work, although albeit it is a little bit loud. Again, metal on metal. This room here is really interesting because of the closet setup. This would have, in most places, been the master bedroom, but because this is a 3-bedroom, this is actually not the master bedroom. But there's some really amazing photos from the Lustron catalogs of like women doing their makeup in these mirrors. Because I mean, really, it is a full-on like makeup setup in here. It's really, really quite beautiful. And all of the doors and styling in here. I mean, it just has the right lines in it. Just kind of like a 1950s automobile. I mean, compare this to like, I don't know, a Cadillac or something from back in the day. And it has those really beautiful, I don't know, line work, I guess. Even around the pools and stuff, the little rounded indents in there. I mean, it just, everything was kind of thought of and just kind of manufactured in a way to be replicable and really pretty and simple. So as we come to the end of the hallway here, you can see there's some weirdness here in the floor, and that's because this was actually 2 separate bedrooms. So bedroom here, bedroom here. There was a end of hall closet, which was here. You can see the line right there. That's the end of the closet, so it'll come forward. There'll be a door there. 2 sliding pocket doors on either side to go into the bedrooms. And then back here was each closet for each of the 2 rooms. So you can kind of see that there. It's also an area where they've done the most damage as far as like people coming in and muddling this house. So when we got the place, Originally what was here was some weird IKEA thrown together crap that didn't make any sense in here. There weren't any doors on either bedroom because, well, you can't really hang it on IKEA, you know, sawdust glued together. It's not a great material to hang anything from. So nothing really worked here. And I find it odd that they did what they did there. You can also see they painted this room white for whatever reason, but this room to the right here is still the original color. And since everything's modular, you know, basically they would just punch out and make the walls that they needed to make. You would come and just kind of screw everything together, and under each window, because these pieces didn't fit, they would use these little squares. This here is one of the previous owner's handiwork. This is one of the original cabinetry for the house. As you see by the color back here, it's not its original color. Somebody has painted it. Oddly enough, most of the hardware in the house is actually chrome. It's a chrome-plated steel. This stuff here is either copper-plated steel or it's brass. Either way, it's a golden color. Of course, you might ask, how do I know that? Because that missing knob right there is the one I took off and went home and cleaned. So, but these pulls and the way these cabinets work is just pretty remarkable. You know, again, just stamped steel, mass production, but it's just got a fun feel to it. Like, it's just, I don't know, feels nice. It feels like it's from a different era. It's everything IKEA wants to be. And then passing through where the closet used to be is what we consider now to be the master bedroom, because it is certainly the largest bedroom in the house. It's almost maybe the size of the living room, honestly. And again, none of the features necessarily change in here, but it's, you know, just a really compelling and absolutely stunning room. So that's the house, and that's what it's looking like. It's certainly beat up and definitely needs a lot of repairs. I'm sure you noticed in the walkthrough, we're missing quite a few pieces, like the entire wall and closets that divide up those two rooms in the back. But my father actually already thought of this, and found a Lustron that was completely disassembled in Kansas City, and swiftly bought it. Getting here was a bit of a mess, but now he is the proud owner of 2 Lustron homes, one of which is mostly in the garage. Now, what does my father plan on doing with this place? He actually plans on doing something very similar to what I'm doing with my house if you watch the channel. He wants to turn it into a sort of time capsule of sorts. He wants everything to be extremely authentic. He wants to restore, not renovate this home. And he wants to make an experience for people who want to come and stay at the home. So essentially, it's a time capsule Airbnb is his plan. He plans on basing the house in the year 1955. He's even gone through the trouble of collecting magazines from every month of 1955. So when guests come and stay, they can actually read a magazine from the month they're there in 1955. So he's going through a great level of detail, and I think it's going to be a really cool project. And one I plan to update you guys on every so often here on the channel. So that's the house. That's the plans for what we hope to do about it. We hope to create a really beautiful time capsule here that you yourself can come visit someday. And for those who watch the channel all the time, this will happen a lot faster than everything does on my channel, because there'll be a lot more people working on this. Thank you all for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye-bye.